High-intensity sweeteners are an important ingredient in food products. At GFTC, we understand the pressure the food industry is under to promote products with popular flavor profiles that also promote better health and are safe. Along with the demand for high-intensity sweeteners, there needs to be a continual reevaluation of the safety and health benefits of these ingredients. And on that note, I'd like to introduce this morning's speaker, Dr. Bernadine Magnuson. Berna is a senior scientific and regulatory consultant at Cantox. She has an exceptional broad range of skills and knowledge in toxicology and food and nutritional sciences. Her research on diet and cancer and her work in food toxicology has been recognized internationally. She is a pioneer in the developing field of food nanoscience and is leading efforts to address issues facing the food industry in the adaptation of this promising new technology. She is now an adjunct professor in nutritional sciences at the University of Toronto. Her research has been published in over 40 peer-reviewed journal articles and book chapters and has led to several patents. Recently, her work focused on safety assessments of various dietary ingredients and supplements. She is a member of the editorial board of the Journal of Food Protection and an associate director of food analytical methods. Berna is also a member of the American Association for Cancer Research and is a reviewer for many other toxicology, food science, and cancer journals. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Berna Magnuson.
So why is there so much interest in these low caloric sweeteners, and probably why are most of you here today? That is because there is growing interest in them by consumers. In general, this is information provided from the IFIC survey in 2008-2009 that around 69% or almost 70% of consumers are concerned about carbohydrates and concerned about sugar intake. We know that in Canada, in the US, and globally, there's increasing rates of obesity and increasing rates of diabetes. So focus on trying to lower caloric intake and trying to maintain optimal body weight so that you don't lead to those conditions which have ultimate long-term health consequences. So the question with acesulfame K, the main safety question that arose was whether or not it can cause cancer. And there's been a lot of studies that have been done to demonstrate that no, it does not have any evidence of carcinogenicity. The other question is whether or not it could increase insulin secretion, because there have been studies that have been done, again, in individual, in cell culture studies, but if you're looking at in an animal model study, there is no effect in terms of insulin secretion. Aspartame, as I said, is one of those that the safety issues just never go away. It's been on the market for a long time. It's had hundreds, and I've read most of them, hundreds of studies. One of the key issues that keeps coming up is whether or not it has any effect on behavior or the nervous system. There have been a whole variety of animal studies using healthy animals, using genetically predisposed animals to specific neurological conditions, to using animals that are treated with chemicals in some way to induce those disorders and see if any way aspartame can enhance or cause any disruptions in the nervous system in adults with depression. And time and time again, the same results come out that there's no, at the levels that are consumed in the diet, there is no effect on learning, cognitive performance, behavior, seizures, or any other neurological parameter. Does aspartame cause cancer? And this is, has been, I think, one of the most studied food additives in terms of cancer studies. There's been 16 chronic animal studies in a variety of different species. 14 have found no evidence of cancer or promoting effects of aspartame. There have been 2 studies that have reported aspartame can cause tumors. Those were both reported by the same authors out of a group in Italy, Dr. Sofriti. When that work came out in 2006, in 2007, there was, of course, huge response by the international food authorities because of the widespread use and consumption of aspartame. So there was a investigation into the protocol, call for the data, re-examination of the slides, pathology slides, and so on by pretty much every food authority, including Health Canada. And that was also part of the review that I conducted with a group of experts that's published in the Critical Reviews of Toxicology. Every group that has looked at this critically agree that there's no credible evidence from those studies that aspartame is carcinogenic and that there's no need to further review the safety of aspartame. And this conclusion has again been reevaluated by EFSA, and a recent report, I think I actually have that, is just released in March, where they again went through and reviewed all of the information since the last EFSA review. Exposure data, brain function, satiation, appetite, allergenicity, immunotoxicity, metabolism, diabetes, and carcinogenicity. And lo and behold, they did not find any major gaps in the information on aspartame and have basically stated that there is no new evidence that requires a reevaluation of the safety. So cyclamate. Cyclamate is the ones that why cyclamate was banned, because of a rodent study in 1969. And again, it has since been reviewed, and now they believe the determination is that there is inadequate evidence of carcinogenicity in animals and experimental, or in humans and experimental animals, not experimental humans. We don't have too many of those around. So it is considered safe for individuals below the ADI, but as I said, because of the ADI being low and the use of it, there is in some countries calls for reduced use of cyclamate. Neotame kind of has come through somewhat unscathed with not very many, you don't see as many safety concerns. In animal studies, the only consistent observation was a change in one of the liver enzymes, but that is very moderate and there's no evidence of liver toxicity. So neotame generally is not considered to have suffered from too many safety concerns. Sucralose, also a large body of research, and there really has not been a lot of issues in terms of concern with the safety of sucralose. There is one that just came out in terms of some of the breakdown products of sucralose in baking goods that I can address later. But generally, in terms of preclinical studies or studies from any animals, there's been no big issues coming out. Stevia. Okay, so the question with stevia has primarily focused on effects on blood glucose homeostasis, blood pressure, and reproductive effects. There were some adverse reproductive effects seen in some of the studies, and some adverse effects seen in the kidneys in some of the studies. These were ones that were conducted with the crude or low purity extracts. And in the early studies, when there is hot water extracts of plants, you do not get a consistent chemical profile. So what it was in those extracts is not really well understood that caused those effects, but studies that were conducted with the high purity, greater than 95% of the steviol glycosides, have not shown those effects. So that is why the GFTC ADI approval is based on the extract or a source that has high level of purity. So first and foremost, all of the approved low-calorie sweeteners have been demonstrated to be safe. They can be useful dietary tools for individuals wishing to reduce their caloric intake or to limit sugar intakes. New products that are coming onto the market can take advantage of the wide variety of low-calorie sweeteners for different formulations and different mixtures to achieve optimal desired characteristics in their products. And lastly, there's been no evidence of adverse effects being caused in humans, even by those individuals that are the highest users.